Bonjour. In today's video, we will be looking at indirect object pronouns in French. An indirect object is something that expresses to whom or for whom an action is done in the sentence. So you'll have a subject and an action, and then the indirect object is the person or animal receiving that action. Um, an indirect object is always a person, or it could be an animal, and it's usually preceded by the preposition a, which means to or for. It might be preceded by pour as well, or the verb might just take an indirect object. So here are some visuals and examples for you. If somebody were calling her mom, then here it is written out: Pauline, she speaks to her mom. The subject is Pauline, the verb is speak, and then the indirect object is the person to whom or for whom it's done, in this case, her mom. So to her mom is the indirect object phrase that we will be replacing with an indirect object pronoun. One more visual just to show you would be this little picture here. Let's say that I am giving you a present. I am the subject, the verb is give, and then you are the indirect object. Later on, we'll look at direct objects as well. The present is the direct object, the thing receiving an action. I'm giving the present. The indirect object is the person to whom or for whom the object goes, the present goes. An indirect object pronoun is a word that replaces that indirect object phrase and the ah that came in front of it. So indirect object pronouns replace indirect object nouns and whatever preposition comes before it, like a or pour. So in the example from before, Pauline parle à sa mère. À sa mère has the indirect object and the preposition, and we're going to replace all of that with the word lui. Pauline lui parle. Another example, j'envoie des cadeaux à mes amis. I send gifts to my friends. The mes amis is the indirect object, and the a will also get replaced by the pronoun leur. Je leur envoie des cadeaux. Here are the indirect object pronouns, the words that will be replacing indirect objects and the prepositions that precede them. Me means to or for me. Te means to or for you, singular, one person, familiar, aka not formal. I will point out later that me and te in front of a word that starts with a vowel will become M apostrophe and T apostrophe. Lui is easy, it replaces to him, for him, or to her, for her. So we don't actually need to know the gender of the indirect object person because lui covers them both. What we do need to know is, am I giving this gift to one person or to more people? Is it singular lui or is it plural leur? So back to my chart, nous means to us or for us. Vous means for you formal or for you all. And leur is to or for them. And it doesn't matter if them is masculine or feminine. As long as it's plural, we'll use the word leur to mean them. Direct, indirect object pronouns, as far as where they're located, it's pretty simple. They go right in front of the conjugated verb. So Gilbert, je te parle. I'm speaking to you. In English, the to you comes at the end. In French, you place this pronoun directly in front of the conjugated verb. Notre père nous envoie un email. Our dad sends to us an email. Even if you have a negative sentence and you've got ne pas in there, you just put the indirect object pronoun in between ne and the conjugated verb. Gilbert, je ne te parle pas. I'm not speaking to you. If I were to make this example up above negative, notre père ne nous envoie pas un email. If you have more than one verb, aka like a conjugated verb and an infinitive, put the indirect object pronoun in front of the second verb, the infinitive, because the infinitive in this situation is going to be what's relating to that indirect object pronoun. I'll show you what I mean. Nous allons lui donner une cravate. Lui goes in between those two verbs, right in front of the infinitive. And the reason is the verb donner has more to do with this tie giving experience than the allons. We're going to give a tie to him, is what you're saying. So give is the more important verb here that really tells you what's going on. Elle ne va pas vous prêter la robe. She's not going to lend you the dress. We'll put the to you, the vous, indirect object pronoun, right in front of the verb prêter, to lend. One little thing to note that I mentioned earlier, me changes to M apostrophe, te changes to T apostrophe if the verb that it comes in front of starts with a vowel or vowel sound. So I'm not going to say ton petit ami te envoie. I will bring those together and contract them to be t'envoie. Ton petit ami t'envoie des textos. Your boyfriend sends you texts. Isabelle m'écoute. I won't say Isabelle me écoute. I will bring them together to form m'écoute. Il me faut un accent, désolé. One little thing to note is that if you had an affirmative command, meaning you're telling somebody, do this, do that, this is the one scenario where you don't put the indirect object pronoun right in front of the verb. It actually comes after, and you attach it with a hyphen. And if you have me and te in these examples, you'll change them to moi and toi, which are stress pronouns. You're emphasizing. So achète-lui means buy it for him. Buy him a sweater. Achète-lui un pullover. Envoyez-leur un message. Send them a message. Send a message to them. Donne-moi des fleurs. Give me some flowers. Notice that me changed to moi, the stress pronoun. So one little thing to keep in mind with me and te, and with giving positive commands. Now, if you had a negative command like don't give me flowers, then you'd have ne pas, and you would put the indirect object pronoun right in front of your verb. Ne me donne pas des fleurs. You will use indirect object pronouns with these verbs a lot. There are lots of verbs that just happen to take indirect object pronouns. Here are some of the big ones. Demander à, to ask. Donner à. Envoyer à. Montrer à. Parler à. Poser une question à. Prêter à. Téléphoner à. These are just verbs that usually take an indirect object, aka somebody receives this action. It's for or to someone. Like I speak to somebody, I lend to someone, I send a message to someone. In French, these take indirect object pronouns. The a helps us notice that. Okay, if that all makes sense, you can pause here, but I do want to do a couple of practices with you. Here are your options of indirect object pronouns: me or M apostrophe, te or T apostrophe, lui if it's singular, to him, to her, nous, vous, or leur if it's plural, to them. So I would suggest pausing this video for a moment, looking through these example sentences and deciding, okay, to whom am I doing this action? Which one of these 6 forms fits the best? For example, in number 1, je prépare le dîner à mes frères. I'm preparing dinner for my brothers. My brothers is a group of people. I'm preparing dinner for them. So the answer would be leur. Why don't you pause this video and try the rest of them? Numéro 2, nous disons la vérité à nos parents. Don't be thrown off by the no there. That doesn't mean the answer is nous. It's saying we tell the truth to our parents. Our parents is plural. In English, I would say we tell the truth to them, not to us. So I'm going to pick leur again. Numéro 3, elle ne prête pas sa voiture à nous. She does not lend her car to us. That's actually not correct grammar. We're going to write it the second way with nous in the right spot. Elle ne nous prête pas sa voiture. She doesn't lend us her car. 4. Je donne des bisous au bébé. I'm giving kisses to the baby. Well, the baby isn't me, you, us. It has to be lui. It's just one person. Je lui donne des bisous. I give him kisses. Numéro 5. Tu envoies des cadeaux à moi. À moi is to me, so the correct way to write this would be to put me in this blank, but envoie starts with a vowel. So if you notice that, you would know to make the contraction tu m'envoies des cadeaux. 6. Je donne un cadeau à toi. Je te donne un cadeau. No contraction necessary because donne starts with a consonant. 7. Je parle espagnol à vous. This is not the correct way to form it, but you are going to take that vous and move it in front of the verb. Je vous parle espagnol. I'm speaking Spanish to you all. That'd be cool. Et numéro 8, Oncle Manu donne des bonbons à Sarah et Viviane. I have two people here. I'm not included in this. I'm not speaking to them. So the answer is leur. Oncle Manu gives them, gives candy to them. Hopefully this helped a little bit clear up how indirect object pronouns work and what they are in French. Ciao.